Hey everyone, Dennis Kay here with my better half, Stephanie
Stephanie,
Kay.
hi.
And a lot of people ask how we found Belize, what made us move from Michigan to this Central American country, what prompted us to leave the comforts and safety of the United States and live as expats. So I thought we'd just spend a few minutes today just telling our story, huh?
Sounds good.
Yeah. So we were both born and raised in Bay City, a town of about 32,000 people in Michigan.
Right
Right
here
about there, yeah.
for all Michiganders.
2 hours north of Detroit. And we had a really good life. Great family, great friends. We had a house on the lake. We had a boat, two cars in the driveway, nice vacations.
Garden,
Yeah,
friends, family, wonderful life.
everything. And yet we were looking for something a little bit more, something a little bit more meaningful. My wife said,
I wanted to have a great big adventure ever since I was a little girl. So I said, can we please try something new? Let's live abroad. And
live,
he said,
live abroad. I said, are you kidding? I was like, why would you ever leave the United States? I mean, here is where people come to. And so I was dead set against the idea and told her I would never, ever leave the comfort of the U.S., ever.
I was 26 when we left.
Yeah,
Moral of the story, I usually get what I want.
it's true. So here's what happened. We moved for several different reasons. One of the reasons was we wanted to spend more time together.
Mm-hmm.
Now, this life that we had in Bay City, Michigan, again, was beautiful. Wouldn't trade it for the world. But yet, we were spending a lot of time working, and not enough time enjoying things that were very meaningful to us. And the kicker was one Saturday, after we were both working long days, we were working overtime to pay for the toys, pay for the house. I came home one night, and my friends were in my house on our beach, drinking our wine from the cellar. And here I'm thinking, why are we working all of these hours to pay for these things that other people are enjoying and we're not? So I said to her, let's move. Take you up on your offer. But I said, I will give you 1 year abroad, just 1 year, and then we'll come back to normal life.
It seemed like a good compromise. I get a year off. We get to spend, 24/7 together. Let's do this. So we worked our butts off and were able to do that for 1 year and fell in love with it.
Yeah, so let's go back in the story. So here's what happened. I told her we can move anywhere in the world. I said you can pick any country you want, but I had to meet these criteria. Number one is I had to speak English because I don't know any other languages but English. And I didn't want to move somewhere and not feel comfortable and not be able to get around. So it had to be English speaking, had to be safe, and I would like it close to the United States because I was a little nervous about getting too far away from my hometown. And so with that criteria, I said, find us a place to live. And what did she come back with?
Belize.
And what did I think about Belize?
You didn't think about Belize. You had no idea what Belize was, where Belize was, why we should move to Belize.
No. So she came to me with a stack of papers. And she said, sweetie, I found us a place to move to. And I start going through, and here's all these printouts. And I said, what is this? Where is this? And she said, it's in Central America. And I immediately said, no.
Stereotypes
Yep.
in his head
Yep.
were wrong.
All I could think of is Che Guevara, camouflaged head to toe, bullets across his chest, mercenaries. I did not want to move to a place called Central America. But the more I looked into it, I thought, wow, this is a pretty interesting country. And so in July 2002, we made our fact-finding trip. We went down to spy out the land. And during that trip, we spent a few weeks on the mainland, the Cayo district, Belize City, a little village called Hattieville, met many dear friends that we would keep now to this day, and then spent some time in Caye Caulker and Ambergris Caye. So that was July 2002. Went home, sold off everything, and exactly 1 year later, July of 2003, booked those plane tickets, and we moved full-time to Belize. So where do we move to first?
Well, we had a desire to help out, so we did some volunteer work in a little village called Hattieville. It was maybe about 1,500 people, and it's called Hattieville because Hurricane Hattie came in, and that's where a lot of the people went, from Belize City to Hattieville. And the people were so kind and so nice, and they became like a second family to us. So we ended up spending 2.5 years there. while in order to have our volunteer work be paid for, because we were self-funded, we would go back to the States, and we had a decorative concrete business. So with very minimal equipment, Dennis would make someone's driveway, and I would paint it look like a compass rose or flagstone or different wine cellars. It was really neat, and it was a lot of fun. It was a lot of work though, and it was very hot. So we did that in Florida, and made enough money in a few months to spend quite a few more months in Belize and live in the village, where we were the only Americans. Yeah. We were the only people with white skin.
Yeah, it was awesome. We were completely out of our element, out of our culture.
So accepted.
Yeah.
It was just amazing.
Those 2.5 years, we wouldn't trade for the world.
No.
But as time went on, we had to keep going back and forth. So we'd make our money in the U.S., go back to Belize, and we realized that there was so much more to Belize that we wanted to explore that would take living there full time to do. And so we moved to Ambergris Caye for several reasons. Number one is that's where I thought we could find some type of work for us. Because at that point, we had established ourselves in Belize. I knew I could get a work permit. And so I went to Belize, met a dear friend, and started investing in Belize real estate. And that turned into living 11 years on the beautiful island of Ambergris Caye. And many good experiences, many friends, and I just had a fantastic time. So maybe you could explain what was your favorite part and least favorite parts of living on Ambergris Caye?
My favorite part is definitely the people, because everyone's so friendly. You can walk down the beach or the road, and people will offer you a ride in their golf cart if you're going into town. They know who you are. I could go to the store and just pick out what I needed and sign my name, and then he would get the bill at the end of the month, and he'd be like, "What did you order? All these groceries?" You can get American groceries. I was so comfortable. I felt accepted. I felt loved. I loved learning about a new culture. I made so many friends. It was just an easy step from North America to Belize. Personally, the thing I didn't like about Belize, and the reason that we have to be where we are now most of the time, is I have fibromyalgia severely. It's in my family. It's a pretty bad case. And mine, unfortunately, is heat intolerant. So when it's the gorgeous days where everyone's super excited about it being 80 degrees and they can have a tan and they can go snorkeling, I am miserable with hives everywhere and have a migraine. So I found myself being stuck in my room where the air conditioning was, and it got to be a little lonely because, it's boring. You need to be somewhere where you can be out in the community.
Yeah. So
I still wanted to live an expat life, so I said I need to be somewhere that's similar to Michigan with, the 4 seasons, but maybe not as cold for as long. So I filled another dream, and we moved to Paris.
Yeah. So let's go back, because you're fast forwarding now quite a ways. We're talking about Belize still. So among the top reasons that people choose Belize is because of the sunshine, the tropical weather, the ocean, the Caribbean Sea, the snorkeling, the diving, the fishing, the just being at the beach bars, just having the island life, all of those things that we enjoyed for many years. Unfortunately, my wife just isn't able to enjoy anymore.
I loved it while I could. I hope that it turns around.
The old saying, happy wife, happy life. Well, as a husband, my wife is no longer able to be happy there. But you did enjoy your time there.
I miss it. I wish I could still enjoy those things. Yeah. Maybe things will change and I'll get cold intolerant. That would be awesome. And we would be back in a second, more often.
So during those times, those many years that we spent on Ambergris Caye, we started to invest in Belize real estate, buying and selling our own properties, and helping others to do the same. And so fortunately, now I'm able to take that business, and we can live in any part of the world we choose. So like Steph said, we moved to Paris for 5 years. We were living right in the center of Paris, just 1 or 2 blocks from Notre Dame in the 5th, in the Latin Quarter. And now we're living in a smaller city called Strasbourg, along the border between France and Germany. And we are absolutely loving it here. But it's interesting because people say, well, what am I doing for work? Our Belize investments have grown so much that now we're able to live anywhere in the world based on those investments. And so part of why I wanted to do this video is to highlight this. You don't have to live in Belize to take advantage of owning and investing in property there. We don't live there full time right now. We still travel back and forth. Ambergris Caye is our home base, so to speak.
It has our heart.
Yeah, it has our heart. It's the number one place in the world that we would be living right now if we could do it with good health. But even if we can't live there full time, we're still able to invest on the island, take advantage of a unique situation there, and then use those funds to fund our travels to other countries and to fund our life in here. On our wall, we have pictures of us traveling to some 37 different countries. And we're fortunate and able to do that. And Belize Real Estate has helped fund many of those trips. We've had a fantastic time.
It's our passion.
Yeah. Would you have any advice for someone who is thinking about either investing in Belize or just moving there full-time or part-time?
I would say don't stress it so much, because maybe you were a little too stressed at the beginning and you were worried about it, but you trusted me and my research, and there were a lot of things that you worried about or we worried about that we didn't need to worry about. And then stuff happens, and when it happens, you're like, oh, that wasn't bad. Immigration wasn't bad, especially after immigrating to France. The difference is huge. So we love that the Belizean government makes it easy for, to welcome foreigners.
Yeah.
Locals really like foreigners. They're very open and patient with us to teach us their culture and their food and a lot of really cool things. So
I think that's good advice, Steph, because I don't know if it's just a guy thing, but me, I like to have everything figured out beforehand. So I have my list, I have my contingency plans, I like everything figured out right from the start. And I think what this move taught us is you can take a step forward. You can just do something. Book the trip down to see the country. Just use it as a fun time. Don't put too much pressure on yourself. When you start investing in Belize, you don't have to go all in. I've talked about this in a lot of my videos. You don't have to spend $100,000 or $500,000 or $1 million to start investing. You can put just a couple grand down on something. Use those stimulus checks that you're going to be getting from the U.S. government if you're an American. Just start off with that, but don't try to figure everything out. We just had a nice conversation with a Canadian couple in Toronto, and they just purchased a property close to Secret Beach. And I asked them, I said, what do you want to do with the property? And they said, we really haven't got that figured out yet. We're going to build something eventually, but we don't know what that is or when that is. Just take that step forward, because unless you get out of your comfort zone and actually, take a step toward doing something different, then in 5 or 10 years from now, you're going to be in the exact same spot you are now. And that might be good for you, or you might look back and say, man, you know what? I could be in a totally different place right now, having a totally different life.
That's part of the fun, too.
Yeah.
Because, you make your first step, buy your piece of paradise, dream about it, think about it, go down there, meet friends, and then spark ideas while you're sitting having a Belican on the beach. And then think, oh, maybe I'd like to build a little casita, or maybe I'd like to build a rental house, or maybe I'd like to move here full time. Your dreams might change, just as ours had to because of my health, but you still have exactly what you want, but what you want changes. So
good point.
Take it and plant the seed and then see what it grows into.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I think we'll end here for the day, but what Steph and I want to do is we get a lot of questions regarding Belize. So email me those, DennisKii@gmail.com. Email me your questions, and then Steph and I will jump on this once a week, and we'll take one or two and answer them for you. And who knows, maybe some advice or some suggestions we give will help you to live the dream, either in Belize or anywhere else in the world where you want to live it. So take care, and we'll talk to you soon.
Bye-bye.